So, welcome everyone to this morning's 30-minute yoga sequence. We're going to be focusing on hips and lower back today. So, we're just going to start with our legs crossed. We're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to roll the shoulders nice and big down the back and take a deep breath in. One more. Twisting to the left, taking the right hand to the left knee, the left hand behind the body. Shoulder blades down the back, lifting up through the spine. You can imagine a piece of string from your tailbone going all the way through your spine, through the crown of the head, pulling you up a little bit taller as you twist. Taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, coming back to center and to the opposite direction. To the right, left hand onto the right knee, right hand behind. Lifting up, sitting up nice and tall. Starting to be where your feet are. Starting to drop out of your mind into your body. Deep breath in and exhale back to center. One more time, twisting to the left, right hand, left knee, left hand behind. Starting to feel the breath in the body. As you take in some deep breaths, feel the fresh oxygen traveling around to all of the cells. And then back to center and to the right. Left hand, right knee, right hand behind. If you're feeling like you're holding any stale or stagnant energy, or if there's any emotions or anything you're holding on to that you no longer wish to, just take a deep breath in and allow it to leave you on the out breath. Taking this opportunity to set yourself up for today. And then back to center. We're going to walk our feet out in front, bending and straightening through our ankles, through our knees, lifting up through the spine. Straightening through both legs, pulling the toes back towards you, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, and exhale, folding forward. So just noticing your range of motion here. If you can't reach the toes, just holding onto the shins, leaning forward from the hips, taking in a few deep breaths. You can allow the chin to drop to the chest, giving the upper body permission to surrender. Two more breaths here, folding a little deeper with each out breath. Feeling the spine as it starts to stretch and reach forward. And then just walking the hands along the legs, coming back upright. Finding the center of the mat, taking the hands out in front, we're going to uncurl the spine. Laying back onto the mat, inhaling the hands up and over our head, pointing our toes. Reaching long, stretching through the body, taking in a few deep breaths. And then slowly lowering your hands back down by your sides. Bending through the knees, walking the feet onto the mat. And we're going to walk them out to the left and right edges of the mat. So we want to take them out nice and wide, a little bit wider than hip width. We're going to slowly drop them to the left. And then inhale, taking them to the right. Exhale, back to the left. Inhale, back to the right. So starting to follow your breath here, moving through the lower back, through the hips. Starting to notice what you can feel as you move through these poses. Noticing any tension in the spine, any tightness in the hips. Staying here for 3 more breaths. If you ever experience any pain in your lower back, this is a good first exercise to move to. Just relieves any pressure in that lower back. And then bringing the knees back up to center. We're going to walk them in nice and close to the sit bones. We're going to draw the left knee into the chest, interlacing the fingers and holding the knee there. We're going to straighten through the right leg, pointing the toes on both feet. We're going to take the right toes up to the ceiling, lifting up nice and high, pulling that knee in a little bit closer. Exhale, slowly lowering the right leg back down to the mat. Inhale, lifting up, pulling the knee in a little bit closer, and exhale, lowering the right leg back to the mat. 3 more. Inhaling up, exhale down. Feeling the hip as it starts to stretch here, continuously moving that knee a little bit closer. And then we're going to take our hands behind our left knee. So either anywhere along the hamstring or behind the knee. And we're going to slowly start to straighten through the left leg. So only going as far as you can go, depending on how tight the hamstrings are. Pulling it a little bit closer. So you can rest here if you would like to deepen the stretch. You can reach up, holding the leg higher, closer to the ankle, and then leaning back. Pulling the leg a little bit closer to you. And then bending through the left leg, drawing the right knee into the chest. We're going to gently move the knees in circles here, just releasing through the lower back and the hips. And back in the opposite direction. And back to center. Interlacing the fingers, placing them both on the right knee, extending the left leg out, pointing the toes on both feet, and then inhaling the left leg up to the ceiling, drawing that right knee in a little closer. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhaling up. And exhale down. 3 more. Keep pulling that right knee towards you. Noticing where your mind is, if it's present with you on the mat. Removing the fingertips, and we're going to interlace them behind the right hamstring. We're going to slowly straighten through the right leg. So straightening as far as you can go here. Keeping your head, neck, and shoulders on the mat. Taking a few deep breaths in as you pull the leg a little bit closer. And here, if you like, you can reach up higher. And leaning back, deepening the stretch. 2 more breaths. Bending through the right knee, bending through the left, gently circling. Releasing through the back, through the hips, and back in the opposite direction. And back to center. We're going to hold on to the left knee with the left hand as we extend the right leg back down to the mat. Taking the right hand on the left knee, the left hand out to the left side. We're going to guide the left knee across the body, down towards the mat. We can turn the head to face the left fingertips. And taking in a few deep breaths here. Allowing the knee to surrender to gravity. Feeling the twist through the spine. Two more breaths here. And then slowly coming back up to center. We're going to pull both knees into the chest. Releasing the left knee, straightening through the left leg. Taking the left hand onto the right knee, the right hand out to the right side. Guiding the right knee across the left side of the body. And then turning the head to look towards the right fingertips. Noticing the distance between your knee and the mat or your knee and the floor. Just allowing it to surrender to gravity here. You might also feel that your chest is opening. Opening through the heart chakra. Taking some deep breaths here, allowing the body to settle. Noticing how the twist deepens with each breath you take. And then drawing the right knee back up to center. And placing both feet onto the mat. Taking the right foot onto the left knee, we're going to draw in the left hamstring. Keeping the head, neck, and shoulders on the mat. You're going to take a few deep breaths. If you're finding here that you're lifting up to hold onto your thigh, you can place a pillow underneath the hips just to elevate them a little bit higher to keep that head, neck, and shoulders down onto the mat. We're going to flex the right foot and we're going to gently circle the left. Drawing the legs in a little bit closer with each out breath. And then circling back in the opposite direction. And back to center. One more breath here. And then slowly releasing the hands, placing the foot on the mat, followed by the right, and switching sides. Left foot onto the right knee, drawing in the right hamstring. Taking a breath as the body settles. And then flexing the left foot and slowly rotating the right ankle. Big circles. Taking in deep breaths, pulling the legs closer to you with each out breath. And then back in the opposite direction. And back to center. One more breath here. And then releasing the thigh, placing the foot on the mat, followed by the left. Slowly straightening through both legs. Inhaling the hands up and over the head. Taking in another deep breath, stretching nice and long, lengthening through the spine. And then inhaling the fingertips up to the ceiling, gently lifting up through the head until you come up to a seated position, using your hands here if you need to. Drawing the toes back towards you, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, and exhale, folding forward. Tucking the chin to the chest. Taking a few deep breaths, reaching further. And then slowly walking the hands back up the legs, lifting up through the chest, opening through the heart space. Bending through both knees, joining the soles of the feet together. Holding the toes, we're going to gently lift the knees up and down. Taking a breath, feeling the hips as they open, the abductors as they stretch. And then just resting and holding. You can rest here, or you can then start to walk the hands out in front, pulling the upper body over the hips to deepen the stretch even further. Two more breaths here. If you like, you can push against the knees, pushing them down towards the mat. One more breath. And then walking the hands back towards you, lifting up through the chest and crossing the ankles in front. We're going to shift forward onto our hands and knees into tabletop. So making sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. We are going to spread the fingertips nice and wide, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, a nice straight spine. We're going to breathe through cat and cow. So as we breathe in, dropping the belly down to the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head. Exhale, belly button to the spine, tuck the tailbone, drop the chin to the chest. And inhaling, start to explore your own breath here, following its rhythm, exploring the body, the tension, the sensations that you can feel. You can start moving left to right. You can start moving forwards and backwards. Just moving freely through the spine. Observing any sensations you can feel in the shoulders, in the back, in the hips. 2 more breaths here. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Taking the knees out as wide as the mat, joining the big toes together. We're going to sit back into child's pose. So sitting the hips down onto the heels, dropping the forehead down to the mat, walking the hands out in front, allowing the arms to drop from the shoulders. Taking in a couple of breaths, expanding the shoulder blades, allowing them to separate. And as you start to feel the comfort of this pose, slowly begin to walk your knees out a little bit further. And then sitting back down, exploring the uncomfortable, exploring the stretch. Once again, you can lean forward, separating the knees and sitting back. Finding the point for you where you can feel the stretch through the insides of the legs, using your breath. Feeling the hips and legs as they stretch, as a once uncomfortable pose starts to become comfortable again. This is the same expansiveness in life. We step outside our comfort zone, and then that too becomes comfortable. We're constantly expanding and growing. For those who'd like to deepen the stretch, you can go out once more and sitting back. And then shifting forward onto your elbows, we're going to slowly begin to walk the knees in. You can gently move the hips from side to side and step up onto the hands back into tabletop. Just releasing through the hips. And then we're going to gently circle. So first sitting back on the heels, then taking the hips to the left, to the front, back to the right, and to the feet. So just some nice big circles here. Releasing anything through the hips, through the lower back. and then back in the opposite direction. And then coming back up to tabletop, gently stepping the knees from left to right. And then back to center. Crossing the ankles, we're going to sit back onto the sit bones and walking the feet out in front. Walking them out nice and wide, bending and straightening through the ankles, through the knees. Rolling the shoulder blades up to the ears and down the back, and then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. So noticing the body now compared to when we started. Noticing if you can fold a little deeper. If the hamstrings, hips and lower back feel a little bit warmer. If some of the tension's been relieved. Two more breaths here. And then coming back up to center. We're going to fold the legs in front, sitting up nice and tall. And like we did in the beginning, we're going to twist to the left, taking the left hand to the right hand to the left knee, the left hand behind, lifting up through the spine. Imagining that piece of string pulling the head up a little bit taller. And exhaling back to center. Twisting to the left, to the right, taking the left hand onto the right knee, the right hand behind the body, shoulder blades down, and exhaling back to center. Once more on each side, twisting to the left, feeling the stretch as it deepens, and back to center, and to the right. And back to center. Today we're going to place the hands in front of the heart center. You can place them on your chest if you would like. Just taking a couple of deep breaths in, and we're just going to check in with ourselves. So you can do this multiple times per day, or you can do it once in the morning, or you can do it when you're feeling any emotions like anxiety or overwhelm. So you can just ask yourself how you're feeling today, starting to recognize the emotions. After today's practice, you might feel calm, or there might be some other lingering thoughts. So just checking in, recognizing. And once you can recognize the emotions that you're feeling, you can start to move towards why that is. Why are you feeling these emotions? And then know that you hold the power to bring your mind back into this present moment, back to where your feet are. Fear, worry, and anxiety often come from projecting ourselves into the future. We can get caught up in the energy of the collective and forget to stop, come to where our feet are, and recognize our own energy. So knowing that you all hold the power to that. And thank you for joining me this morning. Namaste.